Some phone calls and emails.
Well, these are like for the federal, where you have to hit stop if you want to opt out.
I keep hitting stop. They used to have that federal do not call list, and I think that expired. So now it's Katie bar the door.
Okay.
Yeah, I get about 3 or 4 a day.
Yeah.
Only 3 or 4.
Of the texts.
I get like a dozen calls a day, 20-something years ago. On my BMW. Like I haven't been there.
Do you have copies of the agenda?
I did not print.
Maybe I have one.
I have it printed out. Stuff from last week.
Are we online? Yep. This is the notes, right?
Oh, yep. Maybe she printed the wrong thing.
There's a whole bunch of others.
Yeah.
Teresa, first. Thank you.
These need to be passed out. These are the bills. that need to be passed.
Just going to mention one of the printed online.
Those are notes from last month.
Oh, okay.
Should be it. All right. It is 6:08. Call this meeting to order. Lori, when you get a chance, can you do roll call, please?
Julie Edwards, here. Teresa Bain, here. Cody Brands.
Here.
Lori Nelson, here. Sonny Ross,
Here.
and Annette
Here.
Martin. You have a corner. Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Sean Mark.
Here.
Thank you, I'm sorry. And you still have a corner.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve or discuss minutes from February? I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Julie seconds.
Is there any discussion?
Can we have a second to read that? Can we have a second to read that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, was any action taken on number 6?
No.
No. Is there any discussion? All in favor of approving February 7th minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let the agenda before you. Stan, would you like to say anything about this resolution that you asked to be put on here?
If I could, please.
Does anybody have an issue with that?
Sorry. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
This, does anybody have any issue with Stan talking about the migrant resolution that he sent? Stan, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, and thank you, board members. Yeah, you should have all received a copy of that, so you've had a chance hopefully to look over it.
Yeah.
And unless you've been living on a rock, you know we've got an issue southern border, and it's not immigration, it's an invasion. I mean, depends whose numbers you want to look at. I mean, 12 to 18 million, and that's the ones they've even run through. They're flying them in direct from the South American countries. Guatemala, and that number right now is, I think, at 320,000. But Guatemala, they sent by Southwest Airline. It's been a couple weeks ago now. But we can track them. We got an app. We can track planes, and they come from down there, and they ended up in St. Louis in the middle of the night. Granted, it could have been tourists, but I don't think so. Not coming from Guatemala, because they've been emptying out their jails. So they're sending the worst of the worst up here. So, and that's not counting the getaways that we don't even know of. And there's basically two lines of illegals coming up. There's a CCP line, and there's the line with the families and that. And they're basically the Trojan horse for the other ones, because the CCP is going to California. There was no accident that Xi Jinping went to California a couple of months ago, because then they're going in and get distributed out around the United States. So, and these are all military-age men. There's some Middle Easterners out there too, going up through there. But they're not even allowed to go and photograph through there. The San Vicente camp got burnt here last week, all the records, so there's no way of knowing who's in, who's out. But anyway, that being said, you can look around here in Illinois and in the United States, the effect it's having on the communities. I mean, you look at Chicago, you know, you look at Baltimore, you look at LA, Denver, they're just raising havoc on our communities. Whether it be crime, you know, drugs. I think over 100,000 died of fentanyl overdoses last year, directly coming through the southern border. And personal crime, I mean, like rape, murder, child trafficking, and that's all happening. There's 18,000 missing on the border down there now. God knows where they've went. So, children. So, and then this, just 2 weeks ago, this lady from Georgia, you know, she got raped and her head bashed in. I mean, we don't want that coming to our community if we can prevent it. So what this resolution does, it's not 100% guarantee it's going to stop it, but it hardens our county. And because these groups are run by NGOs and they distribute them where they're going to go, and if they know, like, Effingham County's already passed it, we pass it, I think I'll get Fayette, I know we'll pass it. So we get enough counties down here, they're going to go around us. And, you know, because they know we're not friendly to them. We're not going to spend taxpayer dollars on them. And that's basically all this says. We will not spend taxpayer dollars on them unless there's an emergency. It's written in there, the lawyer from, state's attorney from Effingham put that in there, where if there's an emergency, then you have to. Now, 2 meetings ago, sheriff said he was working on a plan to move them on out if they do arrive here, and I haven't talked to him. I don't know who that was with or whatever. But like I said, all this does is hardens our county, so they know, the NGOs know that we're not friendly to them. You know, because these people are getting $2,200 a month in a debit card. I mean, they're coming here for the money, and they don't care about us. And then it's easy to see if you watch the news what's been going on. So all I'm asking this committee is to review it. I'm open for comments, questions, whatever, and then I'd like to see it passed so I can get it to the full board this coming Thursday. So, and you know, an up and down vote tonight, I guess, would be appreciated, and so I get it to the full board on this coming Thursday. You know, and like I say, any questions? I know there's been some concerns about getting sued. There's no precedence. There's a couple cases in the United States, but they wasn't constitutional. There's one in California and another one. What are you going to get sued for? There's no precedence. You know, the Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution says we can do this if the government fails to protect the citizens of the United States. So this is constitutional. So we're solid. I mean, it's you know, and even on that, it boggles my mind if you're worried about the money of being sued or the protection of our kids and our community. You know, if you're worried about the money more so than you are our safety, then I wonder about your judgment on that. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, so I would like to see this hopefully voted on and move forward today if possible, so I can get it on Thursday's meeting. That's all I mean. I'll answer any questions if, you know, if somebody wants to bring it at me, you know, I'm ready. But basically, in a nutshell, that's it.
So, is there a motion on the floor to open up discussion for the migrant resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Open
All
for
right.
discussion.
Yep, you're open for discussion.
Did we not send this to legislative? The last
It did
meeting?
not go to legislative. It was set on us to figure out.
I thought it was sent, I thought we voted.
We voted to send it to state's attorney,
Yeah.
Did it go to the state's attorney?
and we have not received anything back.
So without legal counsel, what can we really?
That was my question. I mean, this to me seems like it's a little more complex than what my scope is to say if it's legal or not legal.
And that's why it also says pending state's attorney review and approval.
Teresa, do you have?
In February, that was on the agenda again.
And he's
Instead
had
of-
it for 4 weeks.
Yeah. Cody will forward to the SA for review in February. So if it got forwarded and he's not responded, I don't feel comfortable voting on anything like this.
I would like to have a legal review of it, or legal opinion of it before I vote on it. That's my opinion.
Excuse me. Did you say that the sheriff did have, recently he has looked at this updated version and he had concerns, or no, he was ready with a plan?
I didn't hear the question, please.
I'm sorry. Did you say that the sheriff recently has looked at your latest version and he's ready with a plan? Or he supports this resolution, or, because,
He didn't say.
okay,
The sheriff said he was working on a way to get rid of the illegals if they come to our county. But as far as this, he didn't say yea or nay, and I didn't ask him, because I wanted to go through the board. And, you know, to answer the gentleman's question about being a legislative committee, this is a public safety committee. This is public safety. Legislator just uses it as a football and kick it around. I know how that'll work, you know,
The
because
sheriff had
it's
ideas
public safety,
on what to do.
straight out.
Well, so I spoke with the sheriff shortly after you and I spoke initially, and he had some concerns about how law enforcement would respond.
That was the first version.
Okay, so
This
I'm
is-
wondering if he's seen this latest.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's seen this twice.
And he
I
didn't
mean, I've
have
been
it.
to 4 meetings, you know, I mean, I don't know which, my mind's confused. But I brought this to the board twice, the committee, this version. Because, I can't remember your name, but that gentleman there,
Me?
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sonny, right. We talked about the first version, and Sonny says it won't go. So I went and rewrote it and found out Effingham had one already passed. So I went and got Effingham's version, talked to the board members down there, and that's what I used. Because, yeah, the first one, the sheriff said, no, that ain't gonna go.
Okay,
So I get that.
so
But this
since
one
then,
here, he hasn't commented.
so he hasn't responded.
Well, I mean, he's seen it. I mean, I don't know. I didn't ask him for comment,
Okay.
so.
I think the sheriff's concerns were if we were to pass the resolution, how would he enforce it? That's the last I knew, having talked to the sheriff, was how would we enforce it?
There's nothing to enforce. Just don't pay the bills. Finance committee just don't pay the bills. That's no enforcement mechanism here.
Okay, so
We're not
this,
running anybody out of town. Now, he is working on that,
yeah,
but that's an aside, that's his deal.
that's outside of the resolution.
That's his deal, that's not nothing to do with this. And I didn't ask details because I'm sure that's kind of quiet because he's working with other law enforcement on all that. This here just says we are not paying county taxpayer dollars to pay for any of their services. That's all this is. There's a lot of whereases and whens in there, but that's all this says. We will not use taxpayer dollars to pay for illegal immigrants. So really, it's just up to finance committee, and they go deal with this every day or every month. We ain't paying that bill, we ain't paying that bill, because it's in this resolution says we ain't supposed to. As far as running them out of town, we can't do that. So there's really no enforcement there, except what the sheriff may be working on, like I said, I don't have no clue on that. This here is just not to use taxpayer dollars, but it hardens the county. It sends a message to the NGOs that we're not going to put up with it. And you made a comment the other day that, well, maybe they just sent it here despite that. Well, if they do, then that's the sheriff's problem. That's the sheriff's problem. He'll have to get rid of them because it's not in this resolution. The sheriff will have to get rid of them, and, you know, because they are setting up camps, unfortunately, even though Effingham passed this. They're a different community than us, because they got 3 bus stops and how many truck stops. But there is a tent city by Petro down in Effingham already. So
Okay.
there are.
So, is there any further discussion?
Teresa.
Teresa?
If they would get in trouble and get put in jail, and then something happens to them and they have to go to the hospital, we are liable for bills if they're transported from the jail to the hospital. We don't have a choice. We gotta
Right,
pay
and that's
those
in
bills.
here, it says in emergency. It's the last
I
line.
mean, we ran into that anyway.
Just take until we get legal counsel.
Is this something that I mean, obviously, this is going to be something that the full board needs to have conversations about.
Right.
So is it something that we want to move out of this committee to the full board? Not
I
yet?
don't want to without the state's attorney's opinion.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
So,
I'll make a motion to table it to pending review from state's attorney per
I'll second
the agenda
that.
item.
I'll second that.
When you reach out to him again, can you give like a 5 to 7 day window, since we're already in our second month of this? Please?
I mean, or he can come to the board meeting and discuss it with everybody.
Yeah,
Is that what your motion is?
Because I'd like to be able to rebuttal his concerns.
My motion is to table pending review from the state's attorney, full stop.
And that was seconded by Sean.
State's attorney review.
Yeah, and Mr. March seconded it.
Yes.
All in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Unanimous. Discussion and vote to send a full board the Stewartson, Illinois, Shelby County Animal Intergovernmental Agreement.
Make motion.
Second.
Same motion, second by Julie. Anybody have discussion?
Well, I was just gonna say, Angela and I talked about this the other day, and she went through and updated the contract because it was out of date. Went through and updated it based on the 2020 census, so that everything's current, the dates are all current.
Right, the one that was sent out.
Mhm. And they're waiting, they know that it just has to go before the board and be passed, and then they'll be good to go.
Okay. And is she working on all the other ones?
Yeah, I think she ran, was it Calvin that she ran in? Was maybe considering not re-upping their, I shouldn't say Calvin, one of the municipalities was considering not re-upping.
Okay.
But she couldn't be here tonight because she's on vacation, so, but yeah, she's working on getting them all. And Stewartson's good to go, just needs to go to the board.
Is there any other further discussion? All in favor of the Stewartson, Illinois, Shelby County Animal Control Intergovernmental Agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Unanimous. Discussion and vote to move the Public Safety Committee meeting time from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. So this was brought up a few months ago. I don't know if we talked about it or not. Was there a motion on the floor to discuss?
I'll make a motion.
I will second it. All right, now, Annette, that was
My request.
your request.
And that is sufficient? That helps you?
Yeah,
Okay.
to help this
Yeah.
public safety committee, yeah.
I was just making sure that the time was okay. That was all. Yeah, that's what I saw.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love you anyway.
Is there any further
Does-
discussion?
There
Does
will
it
be
hinder
times
anybody else?
There will be times based on my work schedule that I am not going to be able to be here by 5. So
What does good look like for you?
5:30 minimum. I mean, because I
I could
typically get
compromise
off
to
at 5.
5:30.
I mean,
That suck either way. It's no big deal.
Do we have to make an amendment to the?
It's
Is 5:30 good for you?
I'm retired.
it's an issue of when you need to leave, right?
Yeah,
So if we start at 5:30, we still need to be done so that you can have time to leave. If we make it 5:30, we can catch him and you just may have to leave early.
yep.
I mean, 5:15. I could probably be here at 5:15. I mean, if you want
I don't know.
I'm trying to be on.
5:30, that'd be easier.
5:30 is fine. I'll take whatever I can get at this point.
I make a motion to amend the start time from, the agenda says 5, amend it to 5:30 p.m.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Sean seconds the amendment. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of moving the Public Safety Committee meeting from 6 to 5:30?
Mr. Chairman, point of order, you have to pass the amendment.
Oh, sorry. Are you good?
Where's
There you go. So, keep going.
All in favor of amending the time from 5 PM to 5:30, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, is there any other further discussion on the adjustment of time?
Did anybody ask the sheriff? Is he okay with
The
it?
sheriff would rather it be earlier
Okay.
than later. He has stated that many, many times.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor of moving the Public Safety Committee meeting time from 6 PM to 5:30 PM, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Approval of claims.
So, point of question, the clerk sent out minutes of animal control, names and amounts in the minutes to be approved, so I'm wondering, because last time it was changed, I just want, what would this committee like? Do you want
No, we-
detailed and no,
No, we.
Just
no,
approved.
We got rid of.
just approved, okay. So that I know. That I'm not being.
Glasses.
I
Can I
can't
just
like
do-
environmental.
I know.
Yeah, just do that.
I borrowed claims.
There just needs to be two
Thank you.
initials on them sets.
Okay, thank you. So do we have a motion to approve the claims? Or you?
Well, we have to go through
You're gonna
them.
do it first?
We're gonna go through them and prove them.
Something for EMA for the.
Do you want to look this up?
You sign, put your signature in the big box if you approve it.
Not your initials.
Yeah, your initials.
Do you need?
No, no, I'll figure it out. Thank you, though.
Cody, do you have a, EMA just gave us a mileage sheet, is that all they give us?
Opposed? Do what?
I have another one, but what is that for?
This is just the mileage sheet, like the amount of miles, what they went for.
Pen, please.
Sarcastic.
Oh, he just annotating where it has been.
But there's not one of those papers attached to it? Okay, this one home.
We're gonna have to discuss this
Regular budgeted item, but it's from,
in this.
Oh, yeah, what is that for? Who's that to? Oh, EMA?
FCC license.
Oh,
Mhm.
our license is through them, yeah.
Right.
Marty Penn.
Yep.
yes.
Do we have anything that states that he
Are you initialing or
uses
you
his
just
own
writing
personal
down?
vehicle or
I'll
his
get
own
that.
vehicle?
There isn't anything, if he uses his own vehicle, he gets paid mileage reimbursement. That's the way I understand it.
You can take them down to Cody, they don't have to have student.
Let's see here. Go back one page. Oh, no, I think you were on the right page when you did that. That's the total gas,
So,
animal control, 145. Here, I'll let you look at that one, I'll look at this one.
All these things.
When I find it, I'll let you know.
Shouldn't it be 708? Or did they just pay a portion?
No,
Oh,
March 8th.
Is that the
March 11th.
Ameren bill?
Yeah,
Remember, they've already paid it, it gets paid after we do this, so
mhm.
it's not gonna be,
So there's a balance forward, so it makes the,
proration.
no, it's a balance forward from last month.
Okay.
but
Why
then
was
it
it
gets
so much more
paid.
this month?
Well, it was cold.
Well, it was 193 in March and it's 515. Like it's over doubled.
Does it say, does it break it down by usage?
I'm looking. Yeah, we used a ton, like 3 times as much gas this month as we did last month.
You add it up, see if you get what I get.
And
How much
8 cents
furnace?
off.
Did you?
8 cents. It's 8 cents more than what they've got down there.
where did, oh, you took them.
I just stuck
Oh.
this back in the folder with it.
Must have been, I put that back.
Yeah, I signed this.
Can you see the whole thing?
Figure it out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just colder last month than what it has been.
colder and, yeah, I mean, it was more, last month was 7 therms and this month was almost 13. I need to look at this for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where he went, it's in his budget.
What are you
gonna do with that? What is that all
One
about?
month signature.
Well, we're not
Picked it up
discussing,
together.
so.
Do you get 4516?
That's the issue.
You said 4508. Oh, it's not paid. I'm taking 2798 is not paid and 1718 is not paid.
So the 47.92.
We got ours done.
That's what I think. Because they make it way off.
Yeah, it was way off.
That's issue number 1, and the other issue is,
Yeah, 45.16, 8 cents off.
It's 8 cents off. Make a line through the 4508, initial it, put your initial beside it, and then initial the bottom and I'll initial where you change
You want
it.
me to write the correct amount, right?
Yeah. And then initial the bottom.
It's not even 15%.
And then that needs a second signature.
well, small drops up right
Please log that.
One of them's corrected.
Yeah,
That's
that's,
it now.
Have we not learned anything?
Does this not need corrected up here?
I don't know, I just, we
yeah,
always
it
did
does,
it.
because this is what the corrected amount is. 45.16 was the corrected amount.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you need something?
Half and everything. Sure, son. Thank you, Chris.
Did you have something?
Yep, this one's new, and that one we need to discuss.
Okay, can I write it down? Just so I can note that it's discussed. Okay.
There's Matthew doing everything.
Yeah. Wait.
Who does this, who's considered the claimant on this? Like, who does the money go to?
It'd go to the employee McKee.
Yeah.
Oh,
Scott?
this is, it goes to,
No,
No.
there's a, okay. Okay. So the check would be written to the person?
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you.
So before we discuss this, we were gonna take a, hopefully, 5 minutes, a 5-minute recess. We will reconvene at 6:47.
I'll second that.
Taking a 5-minute recess?
Okay.
I don't know. Jake didn't tell me anything.
I don't know either, I mean,
You know as much as I do.
imagine they're probably gonna check some of the bills.
Maybe they're gonna read the gas meter, make sure it's right.
There we go.
Maybe they're gonna go up and read the gas meter and make sure that it's paying for the bills right.
It's the way the government get
Oh,
around.
that would drive me crazy.
Catholic Charities.
Do you have an agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got it? I left my little card.
Yeah, I got mine from Angie at the last.
Could you have a meeting or
But the
not?
government pays them.
We're
The government pays them.
recessing for a minute.
Oh, just those two?
Hmm?
Just those two?
I guess, I don't know.
I guess we're not supposed to know.
So why do we take a recess on this? I don't know, just some people left
Someone call a recess? You do? I don't hear very well.
Did you get it, Melina?
Yeah. Someone in here was asking if there was an I forgot that they were.
Brady working? Was the recess for?
I
That would be my guess.
Maybe we don't really know because it is quiet. Right now we're in a 5-minute recess. Without talking. We can take this in question.
I don't understand.
She walked out.
Which one did they go? They went down the stairs.
What's going on?
Downstairs?
Yeah, it looked like it.
Part of this committee ought to be able to know what's
We're
going
asking
on.
what's going on. They just went to the.
Were they verifying a bill?
Check that room.
Pardon me? Yeah.
We're
They're-
verifying
They
bill.
just went to verify a bill, I think, Teresa. I don't know.
They
which-
go to verify a bill and
I don't know. I just saw they walked out with a piece of paper, so I figured that that's what they were doing.
He got a second, but I didn't. Sean, they said they want to verify a bill. I bet we do all of them, seriously. Teresa, I'll find out. We had to go downstairs to verify this. Or do you go verify? We used to call right. We had like an attorney who would call for me to do. Do what you want for it. Okay.
He had no idea. Should we go back in?
Did Sunny do whatever, are we good?
We just need to go ahead with the meeting.
Okay. 6:49, we'll call this meeting back to order. Do we have?
We just need to do all of them but this.
Yeah, we will talk about that when we go into discussion. Do we have a motion to open discussion and vote for the bills?
Go back in.
Yeah.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
That makes a motion, Julie seconds. All right, any discussion?
Are we talking about Brad's bills that we're gonna pay? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, it's not just Brad's bills.
That's the only ones I saw.
Yeah, I separated out the ones, and we had animal control over here, so.
Okay. So there is a issue with one of the EMA bills. That's why we went into recess to figure that out.
So it is 100 $81.14 for food that was purchased during a training. It was presented by our EMA director, Scott McKee. The note on the box says this was training for suicide awareness and lethal means. It was held at the USACE on February 6th. I had a phone conversation with Mr. McKee to see what the content of this was. Was there any pre-approval, any pre-conversations, authorization given? He said no. He has a line item in his budget for training, and as an incentive to bring people out for a multiple hour training session, he was trying to incentivize people with lunch. He said that he was unaware there was any issue with something of that nature. Indicated that if the committee and the board choose to not reimburse him, that was certainly not going to be the end of the world for him, and he will pay the $181 out of his own pocket. It has been noted that other food for training sessions has been questioned and brought to question, and so that's what raised the concern about what we should do with this and how do we move forward. Mr. McKee indicated that he had zero prior knowledge or information in any way, shape, or form that would indicate to him that that was not a reimbursable expenditure. That's why he didn't find it necessary to seek any authority or permission beforehand. He thought it was within his purview. So, Mr. McKee wasn't present, so I wanted to call him to have a conversation with him so that Mr. McKee in no way, shape, or form is disparaged or his character brought into question, just to have a conversation with him on the phone to get more understanding. So that's what I did. Now it's up to this committee to pay it or not pay it, or send it to finance and let them play with it.
Was the issue with the prior stuff because it was before? Because I thought that there was something that if it was in between trainings, it was okay.
So if food is provided, if activities are started before, or let's say activities are started in the morning after breakfast time, and those activities continue through the afternoon, lunch typically can be provided for those people in attendance that are involved in training that happens through a mealtime. The issue before was those expenditures were happening before the training actually started. What's the timestamp on that?
It's evening, 5:20.
Right.
Want me to show everybody else? Let everybody else.
They haven't seen them yet.
Guys,
So was it lunch or dinner?
it was a supper.
Like a mid-afternoon, 5:30, 6 o'clock thing. Ticket was charged at 5:30.
And was food like provided, or did they go eat somewhere?
I'm not certain.
Where is it from? Oh, he called in pizza.
Yeah.
I would prefer finance look at it rather than, because they're more familiar with the reimbursement on that than what I am. But I mean, it's whatever.
I think it's a can of worms if you pay it. Because of what's been denied and an issue made, and Sonny knows what I'm talking about. in the past and stuff. And to try to save somebody embarrassment, there's no embarrassment here, Annette. If he truly didn't know it, he didn't know it. But members of this board know what I'm talking about. I think it's just something else to cause problems.
Yeah, no, the only question I would have was, did they have the meal during their training? Like, was the meal part did they eat while they were during the training?
And that's why we call them to get,
If they broke for the meal,
I mean, he said we can call him and put him on speakerphone to answer questions.
Does anyone know
Yes,
what the
it is.
training hour?
he
You
said
just
it
can't
was
vote.
suicide prevention.
Yeah, but I mean, was it
Oh.
like a 6 to 10
What's that?
I don't
training
know
and
that
they
it's-
did, and they had pizza just brought in?
That's allowed. You just
Because it
can't
was at
vote.
supper time?
That's what I'm saying, if they ate while they were training, then I would think that would be allowable. But I don't know the hours of the training, did you get that?
No, ma'am, I didn't know.
So we don't know if the
Well, he
training.
said it was as an incentive to come to the training. He wanted to provide food, which I can understand.
I would just send it to finance, in my opinion. That would be my opinion, send it to finance and let them,
But by not,
We could get ahold of Scott and just make double check on the hours, make sure that it was good, and then make notes and tell finance, and then if we get the information, then they can approve it.
Yeah, if they broke training to eat, then I don't necessarily think we should pay it. But if they were training and eating as they were training, then I think that falls under what we do pay.
right.
Are you wanting to amend the motion to approve claims?
I mean, normally Scott's here, you know,
I'll
and
see
he
if
They
can
can,
have
find
a
it tomorrow.
911 meeting tonight, so that's where he's.
right.
No, he's on shift 24, he's on.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
on that one too, so I'll see it tomorrow night.
Scott would be here, as you said, normally he's on shift.
So I'm gonna amend the bills to not pay the $181.14, but send it to finance after we call Scott to verify the training hours. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. All opposed, same sign.
I'm sorry, did you say?
I said aye, Laura.
I,
Unanimous.
Pardon me?
no, he said unanimous.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Sorry. I thought you were asking something.
Hey, I will, no, I'm not allowed to speak, but that order was donated from Monocle's. I do all the bookkeeping and stuff for Monocle's, and Mark Shanks just texted me and said, tell them that order was donated.
Oh, we don't have to worry about it.
So I've had that receipt pinned up on my desk when I saw that come through.
Okay.
So you guys might want to look into that, but Mark just
We
texted
will-
me and said, tell
we will
them right
still
now
send
that
that.
that was donated.
thank you, Mark.
Tom, thank you.
He's listening, he's on here.
Okay, so the amendments,
It was unanimous.
yes.
So we will go back to approving the, not payroll, but approving the bills. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Unanimous.
I'm looking at the agenda, sorry.
Sheriff updates. Sheriff updates. One deputy resigned as of 3/1/24, took a position with Pan PD. One security bailiff resigned 3/1 of 24. That leaves 8 deputies currently on patrol and 1 in the academy. Any day off requests or training classes will now result in overtime worked. The court bailiff is being filled by a retired deputy bailiff, and he is limited to the number of hours he is forced to work on retirement. This could force a deputy to work overtime. Another expense that is starting to occur more often due to no cash bail is Shelby County warrants being picked up out of state with no bond and no geographical limits. This involves contracting of private corrections, transport services, or traveling. We recently had 2 warrants out of Florida, 1 Washington, and 1 Utah. Hopefully the MOU will be on the agenda for Thursday's board meeting, review and vote. Final version should go out tomorrow. Sheriff McReynolds.
Yeah, they have a copy of that.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm gonna get that.
EMA updates, he's not here. Animal control updates. Julie, do you have anything that you wanted to say on that?
Yeah, Angela and I sat down the other day and talked, and she has been working with, talking with Dr. Morrow and working with the agency that we had them be a group of, and saw some areas that were not in compliance with the DART, the tranquilizer medication. So she and Brad she was able to find a training for the end of the month. I think we talked about it in another meeting. She was able to she and Brad signed up for that. They created 2 spots for them. So at the end of the month, they're gonna go to that. And then she will be certified to house the medication, and he will be certified to administer the medication, which they currently are not. And if that happens, she said it takes about 6 months to get the certification to go through. But then Dr. Morrow is very interested in potentially helping us out. So good news for animal control. She's really doing a great job. She and Brad are both working very well together.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Shelby County Dive Team updates. Anybody have anything? Number 12, old business. So last Thursday, there was a company that came in and gave a presentation about the windows in the courthouse. They will be at Thursday's board meeting to go over the same thing. And hopefully we can move forward in this process. There is some other stuff that needs to be figured out with if there was another contract or not. But no one seems to have that
Mr. Chairman,
paperwork.
I got that at 3:10 this afternoon.
Okay.
I have that, I'll send it to the link. I sent it to everyone.
I got it.
I haven't checked.
I haven't
It's like
looked at it,
3:10.
but I did get it.
Oh, I haven't.
When I got that. Did you get it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She didn't send it till 5 o'clock.
What is it?
It's the agreement that Cody was just talking about with us, that we have with us. That was
Okay.
approved back in September. It was questionable where the agreement was. I checked with several sources, and we have it now. And this is for phase 1. I have not even had time to read it, because like I said, I got it at 3:10.
Is that not the specifications for the windows and stuff
I don't
like
know,
that?
I mean, it's 10 pages, maybe 8 or 10 pages. I
It's
printed it off.
here on the email, so you should
I
have
forwarded it right away, so it should be in your email. So you got it pretty much when I did, and I've not had a chance to read it. It is a standard short form of agreement between owner and architect, between Shelby County, Illinois, Sheriff Brian McReynolds, and the architect, Utz and Associates Architects PC, for the following project here at the courthouse. It has Shelby County Courthouse stucco and window replacement. Phase 1. The owner and the architect agree as follows. Phase 1, research and preliminary budget phase with contractors estimated $15,000 to $17,500. And it listed, just like it was on our proposal back, I think it was September 14th, is when the full board voted on the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Is this from 2017?
No, this is from 2023. September 14th, 2023. So
I haven't
here's,
seen that.
and it was signed September 27th of 23.
Who signed that?
Sheriff, president, and somebody, I guess that's William Utz, president, and Sheriff Brian McReynolds.
Is there a date on the signatures?
27th of September 27th, 23.
Who had that?
I got this
I
from the
don't
sheriff.
remember that, do you?
I got this from the
No,
sheriff.
I've got the
Jessica, everybody have
minutes
any
from
of that?
September, and it was a $17,500 estimate to get whatever, I think.
Right,
That's what this says and
Yeah.
stuff. So
correct.
the sheriff's had that long? Because he's been asked about it and never said anything.
The board entered into a contract with Utz to give us an estimate. That estimate was gonna be $17,500. Mr. Chairman Brands has been working with Utz trying to get a response and cannot. That's why we went with a new company. They haven't done the work we hired them to do in September.
So, but the 15 to 17.5, that was just the work to do an estimate. That wasn't to do the work on
That
the
was not they were not gonna do
building itself.
anything but create more paper.
Create specifications so we can have a bid package to put out
Right.
for the windows, is what my understanding was.
Specifically, it says, work with Heritage Construction to provide the following. 1, research and window removal and replacement pricing per floor basis. 2, research address the issues related to the stucco and price solutions.
Right.
That is phase 1 that we agreed to back in September.
And the point that's being raised here is we need to exit that contract
Yeah.
forthwith.
Well, we were going on 6 months
Correct.
with nothing.
So if we exit that contract, it was my understanding that the reason we hired the architect is so we could get the specifications out to bid it, to get the windows replaced. So if you exit that contract, where are you going to get the specifications for everybody to bid on the same level?
When you hear the kid talk that was here the other night, the young man, they do that for us. Their company does that. They do it for municipalities. That's what he explained to us the other night in that meeting, was that
Right.
if we get into the agreement with that group, they handle everything.
They put it out for bid for the prices on the windows and stuff?
Yes.
Yep. They did Charleston Courthouse. I think they're working in Christian County right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said that if this is the route we go, they could potentially be done by the end of summer,
But they said before winter.
before winter.
But they would come up with a bid package that we would put out and
They-
advertise for other people to bid on it.
Yeah, they would do the bid process, pretty much it's we, and then they handle all that. And then I think all we do is we say we want to go with this company.
Okay. As long as it doesn't exclude anybody of being able to bid on it and stuff.
No. I think he's gonna go over everything to
he'll
the
go
full
over
board on
everything.
Thursday. And that way you'll be able to ask questions, but he didn't seem to understand why it would take years to do this.
Lori?
Article 4 deals with termination, suspension, or abandonment, so if anybody has questions about that, I'm just glancing through it. That spells it out pretty clear and gives some direction as to what has been provided and what we would be responsible for versus what has not been provided and how we would exit the contract.
Yeah, we can go ahead and read it out loud.
Do you want me to read that loud?
Go ahead.
Article 4, termination, suspension, or abandonment. In the event of termination, suspension, or abandonment of the project by the owner, the architect shall be compensated for services performed. The owner's failure to make payments in accordance with this agreement shall be considered substantial non-performance and sufficient cause for the architect to suspend or terminate services. Either the architect or the owner may terminate this agreement after giving no less than 7 days written notice if the project is suspended for more than 90 days, or if the other party substantially fails to perform in accordance with the terms of this agreement. Except as otherwise expressly provided herein, this agreement shall terminate 1 year from the date of substantial completion. I mean, obviously there are 7 articles total, so there may be exclusions, but that seems pretty clear.
It's been 90 days, so we can give them a 7-day written notice and
Yeah.
tell them we want to terminate. I mean, we
Longer
don't
than
have to do it
90
right
days.
now. Let's wait and see what comes about Thursday night from the presentation, but
I'd say get it on the agenda.
Yeah.
to terminate,
Well, that would be a question for the board chair. He'll have to make that call.
Would you like me to forward that to him?
would it be him or the
Yes.
sheriff, since the sheriff signed it?
Well,
I kind of feel like
The
we
sheriff's
might
the
need to
keeper of the building.
get the sheriff involved.
I would have to send both of them in, and then they can figure out where they want to go.
I mean, I got this from the sheriff, so he has this.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on old business?
I don't know where this falls at. I think y'all got a copy from some lady over at Windsor about the ambulance service and not receiving any money. Y'all got it, she wrote it, or Jessica's forwarded it,
Yeah.
March 7th, 2024. This lady's questioning the tax dollars that are sitting there, and I take it she's questioning that Windsor hasn't gotten any money.
Neither is anybody else. Finley hasn't got any money. We call it the tire and lube money. Jessica doesn't like the word stipend, so we call it the tire and lube money.
Is that the $25?
It's something per call, I can't remember what it is. It's for providing services.
Wasn't the loophole that there was no contracts
That's right.
and we can't pay a non-contracted entity?
It's not a loophole, that was part of the referendum.
I mean, that, yeah, sorry, that
The
was.
problem with it
That's
was
the
the
problem.
referendum stated that it had to be used for ambulance services provided by the county. So this committee recommended the full board to take that levy to 0. And then once the tax dollars from the 22 payable, 23 taxes were collected, then this committee will have to formulate a plan to disperse that money. Which, that is coming upon us quickly, so
What was that date?
there wasn't one. It's just the 22 taxes payable 23. The 23 taxes payable 24, there will not be a tax bill on
ambulance service?
on county residents that are not in an ambulance district.
Yeah, it's free.
It's a
Right.
zero, it's still there, but it's zero.
Correct.
We're not collecting any money on that.
But this lady took the time to write this letter and stuff. I think somebody needs to, and probably the state's attorney needs to respond to it.
Do you want to do it, or you
I
want me to
intend
do
to
it?
respond to her.
Okay.
Would it be right for me to put, once the 24 taxes are paid?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. This was right, okay. Thank you.
And that only applied to people that were not paying it already into a fire protection district ambulance service, such as Stewartson, Finley, those. I think those are the only two.
Moequa.
Weequo? I was wrong. I stand corrected. Weequo.
You're allowed one mistake.
I'll make a lot more than that. But it's just it was a fee that I think that was developed years ago to develop Shelby ambulance.
In the
years ago,
80s, it
back
was-
when Coventry's owned it,
Yep.
so I remember Jeannie and John's.
So is there any more new business that needs to be discussed?
Old business.
Old business? Sorry.
How about the $250,000 thing that the sheriff was going to try to renew, the restoration, historical restoration grant that's been hanging out there? They thought they could use that for the stucco on the building. Does anybody know about that?
Sheriff's not here. I haven't heard anything.
He doesn't say anything.
Because I think that he had to renew it. I don't know if it got renewed or not. But if the stucco gets worked on, they thought that that's what that money could go towards, was the stucco on the building.
Did you ask him, Teresa? Have you?
I haven't talked to her. I was just looking back at through old things that we hadn't done anything with.
Will you be interested in following up on that with the sheriff?
Sure, I'm calling.
That job still needs to be done, and that money still needs to be used if we can use it.
Well,
Because
it
that, the
it would be
windows
a good
is,
use of that money.
the windows is not gonna solve that problem. And we can't,
No,
we won't be able to use that money for the windows either, so,
no, because you're not doing historical restoration.
right. You're gonna follow up on that? Perfect.
Any more old business? Moving on to new business. I've already said my stuff about the windows and old business. Anybody have any new business? No new business? We will move on to public body comment. It will be 3 minutes. And you can only speak one time.
I got a question. So you tabled the resolution, but you said you're gonna give the state's attorney 5 to 6 days to look at it?
Well, I
that
suggested that we
what
give like a window so we can get it back.
So it'll be back on next month's agenda?
If we hear something back, yeah.
But before it goes to full board, you need state's attorney's approval?
Yes.
Okay.
Public body comment.
Yeah, a couple questions. I'll ask him because it's important. Is that the same resolution Effingham County has? Okay, all right, I've seen that. I was just gonna say that there was some immigration lawyers that got together and drew up the resolution. It sounds like it's the one that he's got if it's Effingham. The question about the windows. So I did a little research on the old bids. This gentleman that's going to kind of act as a middleman between the window companies and us and try to get the ball rolling. What did they get paid for something like that? Because I mean, it's not free.
We don't know.
I mean, does he have like a charge or is it a percentage of the cost?
We won't know until we say we would like to move forward.
So then, I mean, I guess like if it's $1 million project, does it get paid a percent of that as his, I mean, there's a fee for this gentleman to do it is my point. So I guess we need to kind of research and find out what the fee, what his cost is, because if it's $200,000, that's a lot of difference. I did look into the old bid that came from Huff Lumber up at Decatur. That's a little lumber yard across the road, I believe, from where Firestone used to be by the tracks. And because, you know, I mean, you can see all the specs, the amount of windows. And I asked the guy up there, as just an average person, I said, what does it take to get a new bid? And he said, all I need to do is hear from them. Utz needs to call and let me know. They want a new bid. He had the bid number, he had the specs and everything. He said, I can rebid it in a matter of hours. So, and they were Marvin windows, they were wood on the inside, and they were aluminum clad, I believe, on the outside. It did include doors, and the door hardware. I believe, off the top of my head, the 2 sets of doors, the hardware, I believe the install was, and of course they have some setup costs, which that's not tremendous, but I believe that was about $30,000 for each set of doors. And then there was, I want to say maybe $10,000 for the hardware. So probably on the doors, you're going to have $80,000 to $100,000 by the time you figure in what do we need to fix around it, that sort of thing. But the gentleman that's coming on Thursday, is he going to bring like offerings for us? Or will there ever be a time where he brings like, you know, when I pick out windows for my house, I go to the lumber yard, I want to see a sample. I want to see more than just something on a computer. I can use it at home, but can he bring like samples of different offerings? Because while I mean, these windows are humongous and they're like a total unicorn, but they have wooden windows inside and out now, but we need to really think about if we're going to do this, do we want to go with maintenance-free inside and out? Is that what we want to do? And he also told me that there are some offerings that they've used up the U of I that we could go look at, and they still have the historical look, but the price isn't expensive. Apparently the Marvin, I think it's called the Magnum series, when those were quoted, those are a more expensive window, but he said these ones that the U of I uses does a great job. I believe they're either low maintenance or no maintenance, and the price point's a little bit more acceptable. So I'm not sure what's going on with Utz, but I mean, it had I've got the drawings for where the scaffolding was gonna go. Just the scaffolding was $58,000. So if that's the cost to get it done, we need to get those windows done. And if Huff can rebid those, that would be another option for a bid if Utz would reply back to you. Because the legwork's already been done as far as that goes. I don't know about the windows, or about the doors though. I mean, if we had to peel something off, it would be easier to peel off the doors because they don't need $58,000 worth of scaffolding. And it may be something that those doors could be, I don't know we don't use them, but is it possible that we could actually restore those somehow, sanding and sealing them properly and that sort of thing, and kind of keep that historic part, because like we've got all this beautiful trim in here. If you could keep it, it'd be great to keep it, but sometimes it's not feasible. Maybe it would work on the doors, I don't know.
We haven't got that far.
Yeah.
And
but anyway, that's what
eventually it will come out, not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But eventually, maybe we'll hear something from us. I don't know.
That's an odd one. And you'd think that they would want to follow up, but, the bid was like many pages long. It was like this thick, what Jessica had. And I believe that bid started in 2016 and kind of broadened into 2018 a little bit. But, it was all there, all the drawings, because some of the windows are, they're a double hung or single hung in some areas, and then there's a solid pane and an arch pane at the top, and it got very, very specific. So maybe they can use part of that and actually get it rebid and maybe look at those other windows, because I'd hate to see us do something that requires a lot of maintenance, because as we see what happens, these windows lasted a long time, but the wood from these windows is from how many years ago? It's a long time ago.
1880.
Yeah, and it's lasted this long, but still it'd be nice to have a little bit of the no maintenance or low maintenance, and then the insides maybe be pretty and have the historic look. And maybe that would meet some of the historic criteria. I don't know, but I'd be interested to see what those windows at U of I look like.
Yeah, that is something that we can take down, and hopefully on Thursday he can.
Yeah, and maybe Huff has got some. Maybe if Utz will work with them, maybe they could bring something, a sample. Because I've been up there before and had samples of other stuff. So maybe they could have a rep come in from Marvin and show what's available and then the price point. Because even if you save 30% on them, but you've got a triple pane added to it, you might half dozen 1/6 of another. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
Okay, thank you. Public body comment?
Yes, with the setting aside of that ambulance referendum and after what occurred with the Board of Review, are you confident that that is the correct legal advice you got on the referendum that you set aside, where the ambulance companies aren't getting the $25 per call they were running in Shelby County? Because I don't know if I'd be super comfortable about that. If you have a letter being sent from the city saying we haven't gotten this money, what advice specifically did you get saying that that referendum was not correct? And how can you be confident in that advice, given on what happened with the Board of Review? And then my other question is about for board members, do you have a residency requirement? Do you have to live after you've gotten onto the board, do you have to maintain your residence in Shelby County for so long? Or are you able to move and still serve on the board? Those are my questions. And if you could answer the confidence and that about the referendum being set aside for the ambulance, that you got the correct legal advice giving the Board of Review decision, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you. So nothing has been done with any of the money, to be clear. The money that was collected from all of the taxpayers is sitting in the same account that it has always sat in. Due in part because of a lack of certainty of how we could legally distribute that fund, what we could do with that money. This board has the full power and authority to set levies that it sets. So any levy that's the responsibility of this board to set, it can move them down. It can't move them up because we're PTEL. We can only move them up so far. But we can reduce a levy if that's what we believe is necessary. In years past, the ambulance that operated in Shelbyville was referred to as Shelby Ambulance Service, and the perception was that that was the county ambulance. Well, it wasn't the county ambulance because, as you well know, there are multiple ambulance services in the county. With the Shelby Ambulance Service leaving the county, the city of Shelbyville adopted a licensing practice for ambulance services in Shelbyville because the previous county board, before I was seated, said we don't want to run ambulance services. We don't want to be in charge of ambulance services. Am I correct in that? Ms. Payne was on that board. It wanted nothing to do with ambulance service.
We didn't act on it, is what we didn't do.
Right, and it was on the agenda numerous months. And so Ms. Payne and I have worked on this issue from day one. If the county's not going to be engaged in collecting and dispersing taxes for ambulance services, then why do we keep taking the money? And are we doing it the right way? So the unanimous decision of this committee was to freeze those funds so that no one's getting them, collect the taxes from the taxpayers per that 22 taxes payable 23, which that has occurred, and then when we have that sum of money and we are confident that all of the fees are paid and anybody that was late, that's all settled. There's not going to be any more money added to it or taken away from it. That was why we didn't do anything with the money the last time, was because we were getting ready to send out tax bills. So the money we had wasn't the money we were going to end up with, so then what are we going to do? So what this committee is going to have to determine is what path forward we need to do to properly disperse those funds. Now, in my opinion, everything is on the table within the means of legality. This committee is going to have to discuss what is legal, what is proper, and what we should do moving forward with the money. Does that answer your question?
No, because it was a referendum that was passed, and so basically you set aside. That money kept going out to the counties for multiple years, $25 per call. Many years, the ambulance service was paid that. We're not talking about, oh, this was just happened for a year. We're talking about they got those payments for how many years, honey?
I have no idea. Since
Yes.
88.
Since 88. So you made the decision to just stop doing that. So not
This
before
committee
the committee made
and
the
the
decision.
entire board did, not me.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
Based on your recommendation. Because you researched this in a meeting I asked you specifically and you said this was under your research. So now no, you did not answer the question.
Did you read the resolution?
I read the referendum and
The referendum, I'm sorry.
Yes, I read the referendum that was passed and you just had a decision that was over at the Board of Referendum, the Board of Review, that referendum, the decision you made wasn't correct. So my question was, how can you be sure that your decision and your research is correct?
I didn't make a decision at the board of reviews.
I understand,
And that
I'm
has no
talking
bearing
about
on
the
this.
ambulance service.
Well, the
and I
wording in
compare
it, doesn't it say that the ambulance service must be, they will be paid to ambulance services contracted with the county?
It doesn't use the word contracted.
I thought well, there was a contract
It
What
does
does
not
it
use
say?
the word contracted, it says provided by the county.
provided by the county.
Right.
So the county itself does not provide an ambulance service.
Julie, that's well and good, but you've been paying these payments for so many years.
Well,
I think that they
but
could
see,
legally
that's- we
challenge
recognize
you.
the problem.
ambulance service could legally challenge you for not getting those payments after being paid since 1988. Because there is such a thing called grandfathered in after so many years. And so legally, my question has not been answered. Are you confident
Absolutely.
that legally, if this was challenged in court,
The
your
previous county
decision would stand
board,
up?
the previous county board decided that they did not want to be in the ambulance business anymore. Not me, I wasn't on that board. That was the previous county board. The previous county board, by an act of not acting, determined they didn't want anything to do with ambulance services, which prompted the city of Shelbyville to adopt its licensing practice. So based on that knowledge and that information, and then sitting on finance, Ms. Spain can back me up on this one as well, there was no clear direction on how those funds were to have been dispersed.
I can say I knew how they were done before this board went into effect, because we used to have a printout, and we'd go through it and see how many calls were made, and this, and this. There is an outstanding bill, I think it's probably still in that folder, of the DMH or some ambulance service that,
I think it was
Decatur ambulance.
Decatur ambulance service, that through their own misgivings or whatever, they didn't bill us correctly. And then they tried to go backwards and bill us, and that company I don't think is even in existence anymore, but it was a lot of money that we owed that place, and we never did pay that one.
And that's where the question came in, was do we owe them?
Well,
And what's the proof that we owe them? And that's where yes, you know how it had always been done, and that's what we understood. But when we went back to the original 1988 referendum question, because the clerk had no, the only thing that had ever been done was in committee. The full board hadn't acted on it at all. And so when we went back to the referendum question led this committee and the full board to freeze that tax to figure out what we need to do with it.
Says in the minutes, Sonny, that you said we had to vote on a referendum this year. Says in the
I'm
minutes-
talking with Ms. Miller, this is her time.
but I can tell you that the old board, when we used to pay the bills and stuff, I was on that committee that they went through, there was rules about calls, and if they went to the same address within so many hours, you only paid for one call and all that stuff. I don't think that I ever voted to say that, I didn't think that we should pay the $25, but we haven't been, okay? But my concern is, I don't know how they're gonna do anything with that money because it's earmarked for a certain purpose. And short of refunding everybody that's paid their taxes and trying to figure out how to give it back to the people, I don't know what you're gonna be able to do with that money. Because it was a referendum for a specific purpose.
That's correct. And that's going to be a difficult conversation that this committee will have in the future.
Well, I hope this committee doesn't try to determine something like that with the legalities of what could be tied to it. I hope that there's other people that will get involved in this and give us advice about what is legal to do with that money.
And that's why we're happy to have you on this committee.
Well, if it comes down to a
Yeah.
refund, it can be done because we did it with the township. The township refunded money to people, but, it wasn't just us committee members sitting around figuring it out. We did have to have more input than that.
Can I ask a
Public
question?
body comment.
Can I ask a question on that?
Uh,
Just a quick one.
My second one wasn't answered. My second one wasn't answered about the residency requirement. If you have a board member that moves and is traveling back and forth, what's the legality of that?
I don't know that that's an issue. If they have a residence
All right.
within the county, that's all that matters.
The
We're
primary
over the 3
residence.
minutes, so we're gonna move on to public body comment. Jake?
Yeah, I'd like to know if any of you, what your opinion is about our state's attorney trying to put Teresa in prison for 1 to 5 years and a fine of $25,000 for being on a cemetery board. Do you think that's an intelligent thing to do? Do you think she needs to be in prison? What are you thinking, Hattie? Do you think she needs to be in prison?
No.
No, I don't either. Of course she doesn't. But not one of you, but Annette will say that.
I don't feel
So
comfortable
why don't you
discussing
defend her?
it
She's a
in an
really good member of the community. Why don't
open
you help her?
forum. I would love to be able to talk to Teresa about that in
What's that?
private.
I'll put you that. So the summer's getting closer all the time. We don't have a dive team and we can't farm because some clown sits over there at the board meetings and tells us what we can do and what we can't do. Or if he doesn't tell us, he must tell somebody, because where did this crap come from? No one in Illinois history has ever stopped a county from farming their farm. And if you think you can, I'd like for you to tell me how, because you can. And Sonny, it's been about 9 months now since you've asked the dive team to step down with absolutely no authority at all. You don't have any authority except to vote on something. We don't have a dive team because of you. So we got people that are going to start coming to the lake. There's no dive team to protect them. And you don't really care. You didn't really apologize. You're sorry you said that. But if you would not have been here, we would still have a dive team and they still have their equipment. You have their equipment. What do you plan on doing with it? And what are you planning for your dive team? No, you don't have to say anything. Of course not. You do. You said your feelings were hurt. Do you think the dive team members have any feelings? I think they do. Every one of those guys I've talked to seem to be really good individuals. And they don't really make you look too good. Or you don't make you look too good. That's just my opinion. You can take them or leave them. I don't really care. But your guys are embarrassing the community. Everywhere I go, they want to know what's wrong, what the problem is. I called an Amish guy, Arthur. He said, what in the world is going on down there? Are you guys crazy or what? So do you think she belongs in prison?
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah,
Do I think Teresa Bay belongs in prison?
yeah,
Did she break the law?
of course not.
Okay, then why would she be in prison?
So you think for being on a cemetery board that she should be put in prison?
Has she been convicted of any crimes?
So they're trying to, they're attempting to. What would you
She
think
hasn't
if
been
someone
convicted of any
attacked
crimes?
some
She
member
shouldn't
of
be
your
in prison.
family and took him to court? Sonny, you call me a liar, you call my wife a liar. Don't sit there and laugh about it. You piece of
You
crap.
ask me a question, I try to answer, and then you start talking again.
No, you didn't answer my question.
Well, I was trying to.
Do you or don't you?
I'm not talking to you.
You're like trying to ask Halbrook something, if he thinks we can farm or not. Well, that's up to the county board. He doesn't have an opinion. All I'm asking is your opinion. I'm not asking if she's guilty or not guilty. This is just pitiful. So we got Debbie Dunaway down on the other end of the hall, and he's been harassing her for a year about a $5,000 bond. She had a nervous breakdown because she didn't have the money. I promised her we'd get it for her. Her hair was falling out from listening to somebody attack her all the time. These people in the courthouse, these girls in the courthouse are scared. I come in and talk to all of them. I know what's going on. They're afraid to say anything, most of the time. I mean, this is just a giant joke as far as I'm concerned. And Julie, at least she voted for defarm the farm. Why wouldn't you vote to farm it? Nobody can stop us. If you think he can, then have him tell us how. But he can't. He didn't stop Ford County. No one's ever stopped anyone, and I doubt that anyone in any other county have asked their dive team to stand down. So I'm done.
Public body comment. Yes, sir.
And my name is J.C. Alsop. I'm the Cowden Fire Chief, was the Herrick Fire Chief up until the first of the year. I'm just here tonight to make sure you guys all know the urgency of this radio problem we have, or if you didn't know we had a radio problem. Because I have found out just recently there's some of the board members in general had no idea. Calvin and Herrick, we have no communications on our radios. We got to call in for any kind of step up the care we can. I've been in 2 close calls myself and not having no radio communication with law enforcement dispatch at all. I know there's been some talk about moving forward with some radio communication, but I haven't seen nothing come through this board in months. We're going on close to a year that we've been in conversation with trying to do something with it. There's definitely need. I know Sean can probably testify anytime Calvin's on the radio.
We can't get comms out of Finland.
Yeah, you guys had problems at that structure fire the other
Yeah,
night.
we have no,
And that was-
this radio system in this county is a joke.
It is
It's
not,
been a joke.
it's
They
not as
told
strong.
us, no, I'm sorry, didn't mean to step
No,
on your toes.
go ahead.
They told us that there was no dead zones anywhere in this county, and that's a joke.
Yep.
You got people on portables like yourself and myself and others, Sonny, and
Windsor's the same boat. I mean, they're,
you can't get out. You gotta use your cell phone, and then you don't have cell service, and you can't get a hold of somebody in an emergency,
And-
deputies can't talk.
Who's they said, the people that sold?
Any of the emergency responders with, you can't get out with any portable radios.
Well, you said they said that there's no dead spots.
Oh,
Was it the
at
people
at
that
the very beginning, whenever
introduced this?
we were
When
sold
Jared
this system.
Rowcliffe was going around, he went to all the agencies, came out to Mavis, and said he drove the entire county, and there was no dead spots anywhere in the county.
Okay,
And that was not true.
okay.
Never was true. Probably is true if you use a 50-watt mobile, but I can't carry a 50-watt mobile on a 12-volt
Yeah,
battery.
our trucks don't even get out in a lot of places with them powerful mobiles. We have a lot of dead spots. It's getting closer and closer on the close calls, and I'm just here informing so the liability don't stop with me. When somebody's grandma needs the air helicopter and I can't call for it, and it's too late and they're on me, I can say, take it up to you guys. And I'm gonna go to the full board to advise all of them too, that the responsibility don't stop on us anymore. It's gonna be all of you guys held responsible. Because now you're 100, all you guys are informed that there is a big problem. Listen to the scanner. I mean, Calvin, myself last year ran around 250 calls, volunteer, 100% volunteer, between the 2 departments. And 90% of it, I didn't have no communication, other than my personal cell phone, which in turn, that's whatever my hands have been in, it's touching my phone.
Yeah.
So I've already, one guy, unfortunately, he's in bad shape from failure to get out in the time. It's more and more coming of not being able to contact my dispatch whenever I need them. I don't know if you guys have got any updates on anything.
Well, again, we've all discussed it. I don't know what board members you're talking about that said didn't know about it, but we've all discussed this problem, and
I think it was discussed with the full board, wasn't it?
there's a resolution already on the agenda for Thursday to pass to the 911 board to get something going for a project for you guys, for the communications. So,
When will that be out for us to board members to look at? Because I'd like to review that before Thursday.
Tomorrow.
She sent some read-ahead stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't in that.
Okay,
I got
it's
it.
not in that. It'll be out by tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, JC.
I'll get back to you.
That's okay, I just was gonna ask something about the radios. I just wondered what exactly is the problem? Is it the radios? Is it repeaters? What's getting
It's a lack of repeaters. Like in Cowden, for us to talk to Christian County, we have to go to the Howard Buffett Tower or come to here. And that's just not strong enough. We
So it's
got-
actually a repeater on the towers.
Yes, that we have to talk to go back. And that is even, we have to come to that tower to talk to somebody out the room on the Shelby frequency. So it's not very, I mean, it's a lot of static. It's so bad now, the dispatch is guessing. We guess you're clear. And in our line of work, it's not a guessing matter.
That's how somebody gets killed.
Yes, and that's why I'm starting to make a noise with this, because I'm afraid that's where it's going.
And the other issue is, regular portable radio they are rated by watts. In the old days, when it was not narrow banded, a watt meant basically 1 mile of communication. Most portable radios are 5 watts, so you get 5 miles worth of, with perfect weather conditions, no atmospheric things, all that. With narrow banding, it kind of cut that down. So now you don't really get the full 5 miles of comms, and there are not nearly enough repeaters in this county to cover this county.
So if the 50 watt they talked about, that's what's actually in the truck.
Yeah, it's like mounted in a squad
But it actually is
car
not-
or truck.
But it's not actually giving you 50 miles. You're getting,
Well,
under perfect conditions.
On perfect conditions, you might get 40, so I don't know how to calculate it, but it's less than 50 now. And they're talking about narrow banding again in the future, and if it does that again, you're going to be less.
Wow.
So, I mean, you're putting your emergency responders in harm's way when they're out there, and I've been on medical calls by myself, or I'm the first responder there on scene, and I can't get a hold of anybody. I got calls dispatch on cell phone, and sometimes I don't have cell service, so what do you do?
Yeah, okay.
So for like an example, he said 5 miles. This last week, I was in a truck, we used my mobile, and I had less than half a mile.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough deal. I just wasn't sure if it was radio, repeaters, and I'm not a radio expert, but yeah, you've got to have more than 4 miles
Right,
almost everywhere.
right.
Especially if you're down like Herrick, the topography is crazy down there, so.
There's a lot of counties that have done this recently, but when you put them next to Shelby County, they're so much smaller. So our project is probably twice what Moultrie County's is, if not triple that. So we can do whatever we want in Shelby County, but we have to interface with Christian County. So therein lies the issue of who do we go to? So that's where I think they're speaking about that tonight, I think.
Well, the
Or
911
something like
board
that.
ultimately will be in charge of driving the project. We're going to pass a resolution Thursday to do our part to allow them to move forward.
And Christian County doesn't have the trouble that we have here with radio comms?
Yes, they do.
They do? Is it as bad?
Yes.
Yes, it is, and
So it's trying
that's,
to coordinate everybody to get it all right at once.
Are you talking about, now, hold on, are you talking about within Christian County or Christian County talking to us?
Well, I guess both. I mean, I guess my thought is we have to figure out how to integrate with someone whose system works, because theirs doesn't work and ours doesn't work. Doesn't matter, you know, if you put them together, you still have nothing, but.
Right.
At the beginning of the enhanced 911, there was a set amount of money for Christian and Shelby. So it was, the whole Christian and Shelby wasn't lit up on the map like they should have been. And that's what we're going after now for the Shelby County side of it, is to light up the whole county to where anywhere in the campgrounds, there's no dead spots. The incoming mutual aid, like right now, Herrick has one of their own repeater, but you have to have their channel to go to that repeater. And it's because it will not go into the whole system. It's not the right brand. So when the rescue squad's coming in, the ambulance is coming in, once they get down there, they can't talk either. And it's all the way across the southern part of the county is really bad. Windsor's got a bad corner. Finley's got areas, but the whole program would light up the whole county.
And the only reason Finley is in better shape than it is because we put in our own 100-foot tower and we have our own 100-watt repeater that we put in, that we use as a booster to get to the Christian County.
I got you.
At one point in time, the radio comms had a problem. I believe it was with Windsor, and they went and shut off one tower and didn't even tell anybody. We were sitting there trying to talk, we couldn't reach anybody. I mean, and that's a bad situation when you have emergency responders out on a fire scene or car accident or something like that, and you can't reach anybody. So that's just my take on it.
Well, it's a serious issue, and it's not like it is a new issue. It's been going on for how long, JC?
Since they put that radio system in, I don't know how many years ago, what?
Yeah, it's been a few years back. Yeah, whenever the enhanced 911 went in,
Just 10.
we started having problems.
2010?
I don't think it was that far back.
I think it would have been like 2014, 15?
14, 15, somewhere
I'm
in there.
thinking. We've been living with this for a long time, but it's if we can fix it, we need to fix it. I mean,
It's not something you should have to live with.
Yeah,
It should be better.
JC, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Thanks for coming.
thanks, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
Public body comment?
I think that should go through like quick, not be waited on. Because now we have no dive team, we have top splitting.
It's on Thursday nights.
That's why we have
Okay,
our
but,
Thursdays.
all right, so it's on Thursday, but is anything gonna get done for these
Ma'am.
things? I mean, this is frightening.
She had her hands up.
Yeah, she's gonna talk to. Oh,
I have a few questions for Mr. Ross. You know, you made mention in the January board meeting that mistakes were made concerning the dive team. How soon after the dive team was told to stand down did you realize there were mistakes made?
I don't recall. I'm not avoiding the question, I don't recall. I just don't honestly recall.
Have you ever apologized to any of the dive team members for making mistakes?
The one person that I felt that I had made the most to, yes. I didn't have a great deal of communication or any communication with the other members, but yes, I met with Mr. Pritchard privately, one-on-one, with a mediator.
I'm just wondering how long, if it was a short amount of time after you found out you made mistakes, why did it take until January of this year to admit it to the boards, admit it publicly, to where everybody knew?
I can't answer that.
Okay, that's fine, I'm just, been on my mind.
Is that it?
That's all.
Okay. Public body comment? Yes, ma'am.
Do you still live in Shelby County, primarily?
Yes, I'm a registered resident living at my registered address.
So you don't live in another state right at the moment? Okay. Just wondering.
Is that anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Public body comment? Public body comment? Teresa?
You know, I said the other night in the legislative meeting about our state's attorney and how upset people are with his actions and inactions of how he's doing his job. And this board brought this man to us. And this board can do something to fix this problem. I didn't vote to bring him here, but if you talk to any, there was another case that was settled, today's Tuesday, Monday, Monday? There was another case settled today that I am sure a family is very upset with what the agreement was instead. And if I was that family, I would be upset also. I think he's an attorney, I think, but he doesn't seem to know how to proceed on things. I mean, he had to take what I got charged with, he had to go to the grand jury to get me charged with 2 felonies. He couldn't bring it into court because he had me in here twice in civil court and the judge threw it out. So he had to feed that information to the grand jury for them to indict me. And yes, I have not been found guilty yet, but I have 2 felony charges hanging against me for being on a cemetery board for Rose Township. I was asked and I took the job. And when it was brought to me that I shouldn't do this, I resigned. Nobody will even look at me and tell me that they think that this is wrong. It's wrong, it's a waste of the county's money. It's a waste of my money that I had to pay the attorney to represent me. And I hope that nobody else on this board has to go through the hoops that I've had to jump through, and my family, what it's done to my family. I've received things through the U.S. mail threatening me. The sheriff's got them over at the jail, if you don't believe me. So anybody that's sitting here that thinks that I haven't had threats, you're wrong. I have had. And it's wrong for what's happening to me.
Very.
Are they pursuing those threats?
The sheriff's got them.
Remember when you got something in the mail, Julie? And you didn't open a package?
Yeah.
Same stuff Teresa's dealing with, more than once, multiple times.
I've gotten 4 packages in the mail.
It's not okay.
So I haven't quit. I'm not going to quit. But this is wrong. It's dead wrong. And like I said, this board brought this man to us. You can do something about replacing him. You're paying lots of money for somebody to be here on a part-time basis, guys.
One person heard of that.
Yeah.
Got my vote.
One person in that lawyer, in that attorney's office, all that is it.
I'm done. I'm done.
Public body comment? Public body comment?
It's all making sense now.
I just want to say that I denounce any and all hate mail or whatever you're getting threats. It's ridiculous, it's uncalled for, and I don't condone any of it. I'm sorry that you're having to deal, I'm genuinely, sincerely sorry.
I haven't told anybody this.
Well,
The
you
sheriff
shouldn't be
knows.
having to deal with it. I've had to deal with some of the same stuff. Threats to my life, threats to my family. It is not fun, and I'm sorry that you're dealing with it.
No, this has affected my family,
It has affected mine as well.
my sons, my husband, and everybody else.
I know.
I hope that it gets settled and nobody else has to go through this.
Well, I'm
But
saying
it's
that
a bunch of crap, I'm telling you.
you're not the only person on this board that is dealing with that, and I'm sorry that you are. I just want to make that very clear.
I think she's the only one doing the fellows, isn't she?
Public body comment? Public body comment? Public body comment? Do I have a
Motion to adjourn.
motion
I'll
to
second.
adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I know if we want to.
I've never turned it on.
Wear a cheated shirt, cheated up shirt like that.
Yeah, they're gonna be talking about you. You're not dressed up. That's appropriate.
No, and that guy
I didn't know there was a dress, I didn't know there was a dress.
Yeah.
He built illegal race cars.
That's right.
I'm disqualifying everyone.
Go ahead. Won't be one there this year.
Why not?
Because he didn't build those cars.
If anybody has their economic whatever, I
He
can
sold
put it
2
in
cars.
this for
Building
whomever.
another one.
Okay, so
I didn't do it. I wasn't in the county, wasn't in the city, wasn't in the state.
I'll talk to you outside.
That's what I tried to call you for earlier.
3 times in a row?
Yes, because I went and talked to you before I got here.
Oh, well, let's go in the back room and have this talk.
I don't want to have it in this building.
Oh, we'll go outside and have it.
oh, hey, thanks, just leave me with this, that's cool.
You're the chairman,
That's
bud.
awesome.
Yeah, you're the chairman.
It's still
You're the-
recorded
What do you
too.
need to do?
You're the electronics guru.
Quit whining about it.
Do you need me to unplug it?
Hold your hand.
I hope your roller skate falls apart on the way home.
My roller skate.
My
Oh, yeah.
I had a life-size keychain for it.
There you go. I gotta move my chair, Lord.
How do you turn this thing off?
Yeah, I don't think you should have to admit in an open meeting.
Shut
that
it.
you